Growing up, was quite an independent person, happy to do my own thing, quite a motivated young kid, and quite ambitious, I guess. My parents didn't necessarily set an expectation about who they wanted us to be or who we should become, as long as we were happy with what we were doing and they were happy for us to really discover for ourselves, who we want to be and who we want to come. I was at university doing my degree and everything was going really well. I'd been there for 4 years. I was getting close to the end of my degree. I was in my last internship. Life was really good. Without knowing it, obviously the stress of life was building up. I didn't realise anything was amiss or anything was different, and I just woke up one day and had this major anxiety attack and couldn't bring myself to leave the house. I was literally just wandering around the house and 15 minutes later kind of coming back to myself and going, what am I doing? Kind of a bit lost, I guess. Being quite ambitious and getting up and leaving the house and quite excited about the day to then waking up and all of a sudden you're struggling to breathe, you can't think properly, you feel quite lost, you don't know how to even manage the thought of the day, let alone actually leaving the house and being in the day. I went to the doctor, and on their advice they suggested that I'd take some time to rest, that it might just be a one-off thing. It was just maybe the stress of finalising my degree or the stress of being involved in an internship. After trying to push through for a couple of days, I ended up having to give it up, basically. I didn't want to necessarily see anyone professionally. I didn't want to admit that I was dealing with anxiety to anyone that was close to me, because there was so much shame attached to the fact that I was seen to be getting somewhere with life and then all of a sudden had to literally drop everything. I just got to a point where my anxiety had gotten quite bad that I ended up resigning from a job that I had, and I literally had my last pay in my bank account. And I was at church on Sunday morning and I felt God really talk to me about giving 10% of what was in my bank account and just trusting me with what I had. The funds are running out, I guess, but I thought, God, I need to trust you, so I'm going to do that. And again, I felt like the Holy Spirit prompted me to give 10% of what was in my bank account left. So I said, God, this is the 4th week in a row that I've done this. I'm happy to do this, but I really need you to come through. And literally 2 days later, I got a phone call from the company who I used to work with, and they'd offered me a job to start the following week. The overflow started to, have a ripple effect in terms of my anxiety, in terms of my ambition, my workplace, my career, my relationships with the people around me. And as I trusted in him, he did what only he can do, and I don't need to accept a life of anxiety, that with God I can be confident and be the person that he's called me to be. To people struggling with anxiety, or what I've been through, is not to let yourself become overwhelmed by the big picture. You can't control everything in life, but just focus on the things that you can control. Take it day by day, and really lean on God and trust that God is in control of the whole picture. I managed to build myself a great career as a national manager of a retail company. I have a beautiful wife, Sam, and a beautiful daughter, Mackenzie, with a little boy on the way. I guess one thing that God's taught me with having a child and having a daughter is just the Father's love, and the love that he has for me as well.